Welcome to today's video. If you've ever worked with databases, you know how important it is to control who has access to your data. In this tutorial, we're going to dive into SQL DCL commands, grant and revoke, and learn how you can manage user permissions efficiently. DCL commands are used to control access to the database. With grant, we give specific privileges to users, and with revoke, we can take away those privileges. These commands are essential for maintaining data security, ensuring that only authorized users can access or modify certain parts of the database. In this video, we'll cover how to use the grant command to assign permissions, how to revoke them using revoke, and some practical examples that you can apply in your own database projects. The grant statement is used to give specific privileges, such as select, insert, update, etc., to a user or role. The revoke statement is used to remove specific privileges that were previously granted to a user or role. This is where you dive into the details and examples of the grant and revoke commands. My database is HealthcareDB, and there are two tables in this database. First is patients table that stores information about patients, second table is doctors that stores information about doctors, and the user is nurse alias. Let me create these tables and insert values inside these tables. Here is the structure of the tables. Now, we assume nurse alias has been created as a user for this scenario. Here is the simple syntax. Step 2. Grant permissions. Now, let's grant nurse alias permissions to access healthcare data. In this case, we will grant select access to the patients table so she can read patient data, but she won't have access to modify the data. Here is the query to use. This allows nurse alias to view patient data, but not modify it. She can execute queries like select all from patients. Now move to the step 3, revoke permissions. Now suppose nurse alias no longer needs access to the patient's data for privacy reasons, and we need to revoke the select permission from her. After executing this, if nurse alias tries to execute the query again, nurse alias will get an error since her select permission was revoked and the error is permission denied. Let's move on step 4, granting additional permissions. Let's say that nurse alias needs to add new patient records in case of an emergency. We will grant insert permission on the patients table. With this permission, nurse alias can now insert new patient records into the patients table. Nurse alias can now insert data into the patients table. Let's move on step 5, revoking all permissions. If nurse alias should no longer have any permissions on the patients table, that is all access, we can revoke all permissions. This ensures that nurse alias can no longer access or modify the patients table. Let's move on step 6, granting permissions on the doctors table. Let's also say that nurse alias should have select permission on the doctors table to view doctor information. Now nurse alias can execute queries on the doctors table. Nurse alias can execute this query. Select all from doctors. Here is the summary what you learned in this video. By using these commands, administrators can finally control what nurse alias can and cannot access within the healthcare database, ensuring proper privacy and data management protocols.